Is this the final downfall of Keir? Joe Rogan has just thrown a grenade into British politics, calling the UK a modern dictatorship. The biggest voice in global media just dropped shocking numbers: over 12,000 arrests for social media posts, knife attacks happening every 10 minutes, and new sexual crime reports every 7 minutes. What made Rogan finally speak out after staying quiet for so long? And seriously, why is Britain suddenly being compared to North Korea? Across the country, Keir's approval rating has collapsed by 2.6% in just 6 hours, a political freefall. Critics may laugh and say Joe Rogan's just that loud guy from America, but insiders warn this man's influence can literally reshape US foreign policy with just a few tweets. That's real power. Rogan's got a direct line to Donald Trump, and that connection is shaking the British government to its core. In Trump's eyes, Starmer represents everything he hates, a leftist, globalist type. And when Rogan speaks, Trump listens. The fallout? Trump's already threatening brutal economic hits, a 20% tariff on British pharmaceuticals, and new taxes on iconic car brands like Range Rover and Bentley. That's massive. Experts are panicking, warning this could wipe out $22 billion from Britain's economy. And now all eyes are on Keir's next move. What will his response be?
Seeing it now in England where people are getting arrested for tweets.
Yeah.
Well, England, people talk about Soviet Russia, like how bad Russia is in terms of cracking down on thought police and cracking down on bad tweets and things like that. I think the statistics are, I think England I think there's something like 4,000 people have been arrested in England for thought crime.
He's not backing down. He's doubling down. The Prime Minister just dropped a bombshell. Every single adult in Britain will now be forced to get a digital ID. And here's the kicker. Without it, you can't legally work anywhere in the country. That's right. No ID, no job. Joe Rogan blew up online, calling this the final proof that Britain has turned into a straight-up dictatorship. But Starmer? He's staying icy cold. He insists these steps are just about law and order, brushing off the outrage like it's nothing. The opposition, though, is sounding alarms, saying this could lead to total government control over every single citizen. One TikTok clip exposing the policy hit 8.1 million views in just 3 hours, flooding social media with outrage. People are asking, why do they need this when they already have passports, NHS records, and insurance IDs? Behind the scenes, Starmer's clearly desperate to cling to power. And now something even bigger is brewing. Elon Musk has suddenly joined the Rogan and Trump alliance, turning this into a global storm. Musk dropped a chilling statement, claiming civil war in Britain is inevitable. His reasoning? The punishment system is spiraling out of control. Citizens are now facing up to 3 years in prison just for posting something online that's labeled as hate speech. It doesn't stop there. A new social media police unit has already jailed over 12,000 people in a single year. Rogan's response? He's calling it the beginning of the end for a once great country. And as the outrage grows, Starmer decides to go all in. The British government is coming for the American tech giants and hard. Officials have threatened Google and Twitter with massive fines of up to 10% of their global revenue if they don't obey the new Online Safety Act. That's billions on the line. If they refuse to remove inconvenient content, US companies could lose over $30 billion in just days. Joe Rogan didn't hold back, slamming Britain for going way too far. Then comes Elon Musk. He's flat out refusing to comply with what Starmer calls Starmer's censorship orders. But Starmer's team fired back, saying these restrictions are necessary to protect children online and curb the surge in digital extremism. Still, the timing couldn't be worse. With Trump, Musk, and Rogan now forming an unofficial alliance, their voices are shaking Britain's political foundation like never before. Starmer once promised to wipe out the grooming gangs haunting the nation, but critics say he's failed miserably. These criminal networks continue to terrorize communities with total impunity, and the situation has reached breaking point. Official data paints a horrifying picture. Over 210,000 sexual offenses recorded in a single year. It's being called a national emergency, showing a total collapse in public safety. From young schoolgirls to women walking home after work, the fear is real. Britain's women now live under what some are calling a constant red alert. Rogan took it even further, accusing the government of betraying its citizens. He blasted them for disarming innocent people instead of protecting them, saying, instead of arming the victims, they've punished them for defending themselves. In modern Britain, self-defense is practically outlawed, and carrying any firearm is totally illegal. Critics say the state now treats resistance itself as a crime, leaving millions defenseless in their own country. In Britain, it's not just illegal to carry a gun, it's illegal to carry a taser, even a can of pepper spray. The law actually classifies pepper spray in the same category as firearms, and that's shocking. A woman caught with a simple self-defense spray faces the same mandatory sentence as a gangster with a loaded revolver. Joe Rogan absolutely lost it, calling this the height of insane vulnerability. Rogan raged on his show, shouting that in America, a predator is stopped by the Second Amendment, but in Britain, that same predator is protected by the law. He demanded to know how a government could pretend to be moral while stripping women of their right to survive. To Rogan, this isn't just incompetence, it's pure malice toward its own citizens. The madness doesn't stop there. It's even crept into the homes of ordinary people. In the US, burglars fear the homeowner, but in the UK, it's the homeowner who's terrified. Disturbing stats reveal that over 53% of burglaries happen while families are inside their homes. Why? Because criminals know there's no castle doctrine, no law protecting a person's right to defend their home. Rogan spelled it out. If a father fights off an intruder to protect his kids, he's the one who ends up in handcuffs. The law seems to favor the criminal over the victim's safety. Under Starmer's watch, police are even advising citizens to hide and call for help that might never arrive. That's beyond frightening.
I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor, and it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law, but you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the
Critics say this weak system has emboldened grooming gangs who prey on vulnerable victims knowing their targets are legally defenseless. And to make things worse, police have been accused of hiding key details, including the backgrounds of attackers, supposedly to avoid community tension. Meanwhile, parents are left helpless, watching in horror as their daughters are targeted by untouchable criminal networks. Joe Rogan didn't hold back. He slammed what he called a two-tiered justice system, claiming that in modern Britain, political speech gets punished faster than violent crime. Joe Rogan painted a chilling picture. He compared modern Britain to a farm, where the public is kept docile and unarmed while the wolves roam free. He called out the government's refusal to deport foreign criminals linked to grooming gangs, labeling it the ultimate betrayal of the people. In Rogan's words, in Keir's Britain, a meme can ruin your life, but a machete-wielding gang walks untouched. The divide between the elite and the everyday citizen has never been wider. While politicians hide behind armed guards, the average Brit isn't even allowed to carry something as harmless as a stick for protection. The 210,000 victims of violent and sexual crimes are now seen as the collateral damage of a government experiment gone horribly wrong. Critics warn that this is what happens when predators are given a monopoly on violence, leaving regular citizens powerless. Experts in the US are already warning, unless Britain completely overhauls its self-defense laws, the violence will only keep escalating. And the crisis doesn't end there. Britain's migration chaos has spiraled into what many are calling a total surrender of national sovereignty. Once proud communities now feel unrecognizable. While the United States enforces its borders with an iron fist, Keir's government has all but erased the idea of deportation. The contrast is humiliating on a global scale. Data from the US shows that ICE agents have deported over 800,000 illegal entrants, running a swift and efficient campaign to restore control. Meanwhile, Britain's Home Office is frozen in fear, terrified of backlash from human rights lawyers. The result? The English Channel has turned into an open highway, with boats arriving daily from Africa and the Middle East, an unstoppable wave that's redefining Britain's borders before everyone's eyes. Every single day, hundreds to over 1,000 unvetted men of fighting age are landing on British shores, and nobody's stopping them. The cost of this crisis is absolutely astronomical. Taxpayers are now bleeding over £6 million a day just to house migrants scattered across the country. Meanwhile, British pensioners are being stripped of their winter fuel payments, left to shiver, while those who entered illegally are given warm rooms, 3 meals a day, and free benefits. The contrast is infuriating. Critics say Keir Starmer has put the comfort of outsiders above the survival of his own people. Over in the United States, the rule is crystal clear. Cross the border illegally and you're sent right back. But in Starmer's Britain, the message sounds more like an open invitation. Come in and you'll stay forever. Even the rare deportation flights that are approved often take off empty, suddenly grounded at the last second by activist judges. And why? Because Starmer refuses to leave the European Court of Human Rights, tying the hands of Britain's own border forces. Critics now claim that the government itself has turned into a trafficker's best friend, helping smuggling networks thrive under the guise of compassion. Across towns and cities, the social fabric is unraveling fast. Communities are changing overnight, and tensions are exploding. Crime in areas with large numbers of undocumented migrants has skyrocketed, but police won't reveal nationalities or religious backgrounds in their reports. That silence has people furious. Official stats show over 50,000 stabbing attacks in just 1 year, and machetes and so-called zombie knives have become horrifyingly normal on British streets. Women of all ages now admit they're too scared to go outside after 7 p.m., afraid of what's lurking in the dark. To many, this isn't immigration anymore. It's a collapse of law and order, and the government seems to be watching it all happen in silence. Britain's two-tiered justice system has become impossible to ignore. Locals who post radical opinions online are being arrested, while certain migrant offenders are quietly protected under the guise of sensitivity. Joe Rogan is torn into this imbalance, calling it proof that Britain has now been a conquered nation. The outrage has even crossed the Atlantic. Officials in the US now see this weakness as a growing security threat that could spread beyond British borders. Donald Trump didn't mince words either. He warned that a country without borders isn't a country at all. To him, America's 800,000 deportations aren't an act of cruelty, but a necessary move for national survival. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer treats deportation like a moral sin instead of a legal duty, leaving Britain paralyzed in endless red tape. The result? A massive backlog of asylum cases that experts say could take decades to clear. By the time decisions are finally made, most of these individuals have already disappeared into the gray economy, blending into cities with no trace. The so-called shadow population is now estimated in the millions, and security services have lost track of thousands who entered the country without passports. In the US, ICE agents use high-tech tracking systems to hunt down those who dodge the law. But in Britain, the Home Office just stops counting. Critics are saying it outright. This isn't incompetence, it's a policy of chaos, a deliberate plan to make the nation's transformation irreversible. Ordinary citizens are furious, watching their towns change beyond recognition, while the Prime Minister lectures them on tolerance from behind a security gate. And now, analysts are calling Starmer's refusal to adopt the American-style ICE model his biggest failure yet. Joe Rogan and political analysts are tearing into Keir Starmer, saying he's turned Britain's border force into nothing more than a glorified taxi service for illegal arrivals. The contrast with the US couldn't be starker. American planes packed with deportees taking off daily, while Britain's runways sit empty. Global smuggling networks have caught on fast, now advertising the UK as the easiest gateway in the Western world.
Experts are warning that unless Starmer copies the US strategy, and fast, Britain could face the total collapse of social cohesion. the public's patience has run out. Voters have realized that under this government, the border simply doesn't exist. And this isn't some bureaucratic blunder. Critics call it a cold, calculated betrayal. That U.S. figure, 800,000 deportations, stands as proof of what real leadership looks like when there's actual political will behind it. But Starmer, he's chosen the path of least resistance, and now the nation is paying the ultimate price. What's worse, Washington is losing patience. The U.S. government has just unveiled a new foreign policy shift, prioritizing nations that defend their sovereignty and internal stability. That move has put the British government directly under America's microscope. According to insiders, Donald Trump has already hinted that the future of the special relationship now depends on whether the UK can restore law and order at home. The White House reportedly sees the stability of its allies not as mere diplomacy, but as a vital pillar of Western economic security. Britain's failure to act could end up shaking not just London's politics, but the entire balance of power across the West. The situation just got even more serious. Reports from Washington say the U.S. administration has growing doubts about Britain's ability to keep its economy stable and its business environment reliable. From a purely strategic standpoint, a United Kingdom drowning in internal chaos is rapidly becoming a less valuable trading partner. American economic advisors are now raising alarms over how British tax money is being burned through with little to show for it. Leaked memos in D.C. reveal that Britain is spending an estimated £21 billion every year just to manage the ongoing migration crisis. And Trump's economic team is furious. They see it as a massive drain of capital that could be fueling British industry, infrastructure, and national defense instead. One number in particular, £6 million spent on migrant hotels, has reportedly been flagged in U.S. diplomatic cables as proof of staggering fiscal mismanagement. This kind of reckless spending is putting a dangerous strain on the British Treasury, with economists warning that the country is edging toward financial instability. The White House has made it clear, if a nation can't even control how it spends money on its borders, how can it possibly guarantee the stability needed for major international trade? Because of this, U.S.-UK relations have started to cool off fast. The American administration is shifting away from symbolic alliances and is now focused on measurable security and economic performance. That means if London can't get its act together, it risks falling off America's priority list entirely. The consequences go even deeper. Analysts warn that a weakened Britain doesn't just hurt itself, it shakes the foundation of NATO. Trump has repeatedly said that the alliance's strength depends on each member's internal resilience and control. Intelligence reports out of London suggest that U.S. officials are even reconsidering high-level meetings due to Britain's unstable security landscape. The message from Washington is loud and clear. If the UK can't regain control, its place among the West's strongest allies could be in serious jeopardy. Breaking developments are shaking the diplomatic world. The U.S. president-elect has officially postponed his planned state visit to London, and insiders say the reason is downright embarrassing: security concerns. According to sources, American agents reviewed crime data showing that in the British capital, a smartphone is stolen every 2 minutes. That shocking number reportedly sent U.S. security teams into panic mode. Advisors warned that the image of a presidential motorcade rolling through a city plagued with constant street thefts would look politically disastrous. Instead of a grand diplomatic summit, Washington is now quietly exploring other ways to engage with Britain, but through new political channels. Reports suggest the White House is already reaching out to British figures who align more closely with the America First philosophy, favoring strict law enforcement and national security above political correctness. Analysts say this move signals that the U.S. might be preparing for a political shakeup in Britain itself, betting on leaders who can actually restore control. Meanwhile, the global narrative surrounding London's anarchy is becoming a major liability. Investors around the world are losing confidence, warning that a nation unable to protect even personal property on its streets can't guarantee financial or diplomatic stability. The optics are brutal. A once great capital now seen as unsafe for world leaders. If this trend continues, the UK could face total diplomatic isolation unless it restores order fast. That's the latest in this unfolding story. What do you think about Britain's direction? Drop your thoughts below. Like, share, and comment if you found this breakdown eye-opening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next explosive update. See you in the next video.